So I was having this conversation with this bonehead, right? He started in talking to me about how society is just some construct and society isn't real. The conversation was surrounded with language. And this guy says that English is the language I was given. I'm from Maryland, and I speak English. I'm black. Most of my family has been here since I don't know when. And he says English is the language we were given. He was sort of making a black slavery reference and all of those things. I wasn't interested in having that discussion. I didn't like that. Because I think we're trying to move past a few things, and that would be great. That aside, I decided to indulge him, to my frustration. I started talking about society, and he said his position was different languages say different things. Like the example was brought up in orange. Or let's do this. A Sharpie. In Africa, somewhere, they may call this, let's just say, a cantaloupe. And because we are Americans and because we speak English, we are using fake words. That's what this guy says. That is not the real language. We need to find out what it's really called. So we can look at this thing and we can say, I love this cantaloupe. I didn't want to call him an idiot right off the bat, but we decided to have a conversation. I decided to. I shouldn't have. Should not have. And I start talking about society. And I said, language, much like a lot of different parts of society, is something we agree to do. We agree to say that shaking hands is a salutation when we meet or leave the presence of someone. That's something we've agreed upon. Great. I'm all for it. I'm wearing a shirt. Society has agreed that we should be clothed. It would be indecent exposure if we weren't, and we could be charged as criminals because we're walking around without a shirt on. Granted, I know that goes to indecent exposure is really your genitals, so that would be bottoms, no bottoms on. But we've agreed that we'll be dressed. We agree in America that we will drive on the right side of the road. We agree that if we're walking up a grocery store aisle, I will favor the right and you will favor the right. So as we pass each other, we don't collide. It's just something we agreed upon because we are a society, aren't we? Different societies do different things. In a lot of Asian cultures, there's bowing. And sometimes there's that awkward thing when you've got the American that is going to come in to shake the hand, but the other person wants to come in and bow, and there's kind of this dance because we're trying to figure out which societal norm we're going to go with. Both people typically want to be respectful, right? And they want to come in and, wait, I know you do it that way, and we do it this way, but we're trying to pick which societal norm we're going to go with. I'm all for it. But to talk to this bonehead, there's no societal norms, or he just wasn't willing to acknowledge that society is something that the people construct. We have decided that we're no longer Neanderthals. We won't bash each other over the head with rocks. We don't do that anymore. In our developed country, America, we'll call 911 if something's going down. We'll get the authorities involved. Due process to follow, then maybe jail time, but there's a system. Flawed as it might be, there is a system. But that's a society. It's not necessarily black and white. It may not ever be right or wrong, but a society is a society. It's what we've agreed we will do. You've signed off on it socially. I've signed off on it socially. We should remember that as we try to come up with new rules with anything. Without society, there would be absolute anarchy.